Welcome and welcome to my first podcast. So, in this podcast, we are going to discuss about the leadership and the leadership in the top MNC and how to be a leader. So, today we have our first guest, and I'm really proud to have him in my first podcast. And he is the vice president of Microsoft, and he is also from my native Tamil Nadu, India. So, welcome, Mr. Mahendra Sekaran, sir.
Good morning, Akash. Pleasure to
Good
be
morning,
here.
sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. So actually, thank you for being here and thank you for your valuable time during your busy hours.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. So actually, sir, I have been going through your profile in the LinkedIn and I have seen your experiences and how many years you're working with Microsoft. That's really amazing. 18 years, 18 plus years. That's really amazing. And I have seen that you have worked only in the two companies, the North Telecommunications and in Microsoft. Can you share your experience with both companies? How you started and how you are being in this top position in the top MNC?
Yeah, so I started my career after I finished my master's at Nortel, working on core mobile technologies. I was among the developers, kind of building out the early stages of 3G networks. And, I implemented a lot of the location-based services. Today, what we know as emergency calling. So when you place
Mhm.
emergency calls, how we can dynamically figure out a location, communicate that to the public safety answering points. Those are all things that I worked on at Nortel. And I spent like about little over 9 years, almost 10 years at Nortel, working on variety of switching software. And then the thing that gives me a lot of pleasure about my Nortel experience is a lot of things that I worked with the team and we built. This was kind of the mid 90s, early
Mhm.
2000s. It's still very relevant today. Like it was a very satisfying experience at Nortel. And at Microsoft, I joined in 2005. I wasn't even actively looking for a role. I was enjoying what I was doing. I was enjoying the
Mhm.
people I was working with. I had a good sense of purpose at the time when I was working at Nortel. But a great opportunity kind of knocked on my door. And my brother, Diga, who was also working at Microsoft at the time,
Mhm.
I initially came for the interview thinking that, hey, it's a good chance to just come visit him up in Seattle because I was based in Dallas. I
Mhm.
wasn't even actively looking for a job. But then, the great lesson for me with Microsoft was, when opportunity knocks,
Mhm.
just grab it. And the last almost 19 years have probably been one of the most fulfilling ones in my career. Again, just working on my core passion of communication technologies and being able to work on a variety of products, both on-prem, cloud, consumer products that are setting the stage for what the next wave of communications is going to be for the world.
Mhm.
So that's what keeps me excited. That's what keeps me motivated. The opportunity to work on technology that can actually make humans more productive is a great place to be.
So during this journey from the Microsoft or in the Nortel, we have been seeing a lot of people, lot of managers. You have been worked under a lot of managers, and now you might have a lot of managers under you. So how do you feel that the leadership has changed over this period of time? I mean, when you are under a manager and now you are handling the manager. So how you are seeing the leadership over the time?
That's a great question. I think leadership styles need to evolve as, as us as humans evolve. A leadership style that worked probably in the First World War or Second World War times probably is very different from the time when technology was just booming and it's kind of early stage of technology to where we are today. So like in terms of the different kind of leaders that have inspired me, that there are leaders who are extremely visionary. There are leaders who are empathetic. There are leaders who have extremely good operation rigor, and there could be leaders who are just like who can come up with great product ideas, but those product ideas aren't very effective if they only work 9 out of 10 times because our customers expect our products to work every single time, right? So I would say that I've been inspired by a variety of leaders, people who are those visionaries, people who have that focus on operations rigor, people who have that, mindset on numbers and making sure we are thinking through things correctly, whether it's like you're thinking about a long range plan from a finance projection perspective or the cost of running a service, not just glossing over them, but just understanding them deeply. So you are making the right decisions. Like are things that come to my mind.
Mhm. That's great. That's good. So actually, my question about the servant leadership, since you're working in the Microsoft, and Microsoft is a busy place. I mean, it's kind of tough for a person to sit to a person and to teach them what you have to learn. Make sure they are understanding the things, right? So, how do you think this top MNCs about the servant leadership? Because I am having this question so far, and how they will be, because they will be on hurry. All the managers will be working on multiple projects, and they will be handling that to their team members. And if they are struggling between some point, and if the manager needs to help them with the servant leadership, they have to sit beside them, and they have to demonstrate how it works, and how you have to work. I think this will affect the manager's productivity as well. But as you are serving the servant leadership, it's kind of I don't think this will work for every MNC, because in during the fast pace of the top MNCs, how this servant leadership works in the top MNCs. I'm curious about the servant leadership in the top MNCs.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up servant leadership because it's of course one of the leadership styles.
Yeah.
I believe I practice that, or I try to practice that, or there's elements of it which I resonate with stronger
Mhm.
than other types of leadership. But one of the things that we look for at Microsoft as we grow leaders and as we invest in our future leaders is the ability to scale through others, right?
Mhm.
So I have like a close to 400-person organization, and my job is to make sure these 400 people are feeling energized, have clarity on what they need to do,
Mhm.
and are delivering great results. But
Mhm.
I cannot scale if I have to sit down with all 400 people and tell them what they need to do. So having a strong leadership team who also have a strong leadership team, where we are all aligned on the shared outcomes we're targeting. So just being outcome oriented, having a culture that's binding the team together in terms of here are the values that we all practice consistently. And when somebody doesn't practice it, holding each other accountable, and just being outcome oriented, I think is how you scale, right? Person, like I'm not going to expect that every leader in my team is following servant leadership.
Mhm.
But at the same time, when you define outcomes, okay, I need the people to be energized, I need them to have clarity on what they expect to deliver, and we need to have the right mechanism. So as a leader, as you grow, having a good rhythm of business
Mhm.
where you have these inspection mechanisms where different parts of the organization are coming and presenting to you. You get an update, so you have a chance to provide input on the overall direction. This also plays a big part. So like to just summarize, being able to scale through others, having a common sense of shared goals we're all targeting, having a set of culture and values which we hold ourselves accountable to deliver,
Mhm.
and having a ROB where we are inspecting how we are performing against all these things on a regular basis and
Mhm.
making course corrections as necessary is are all.
Oh, that's great. Think there is a major question. Actually, this question has been asked by my professor in the class too, and it's a difference between the manager and the leader. So we all in the class, we are like, a manager can be a leader and a leader can be a manager. We have been contradicting with these things, and I just want to know how you think of the manager and leader thing, manager versus leader. How you are thinking about this particular thing, because we are just curious on how the people are thinking about the manager and leader. My perspective of manager and leader is, a manager can be a leader and leader cannot be a manager. That's how I think. They both are goal oriented, they are both success oriented, but the way of guiding the team is different between the manager and the leader. That's what I think. I just curious about how you think, as you have seen a lot of managers, as you have seen a lot of managers above you, and you have worked under. So how you think about this manager and leader?
There's a lot of good literature, good research, good articles you can find on the internet about, the difference between a manager and a leader. If you ask my just 2 cents on it, I think every person is a leader,
Mm-hmm.
but not every person is likely a manager, right? So there is a leader is not somebody who has like hundreds or thousands of people in their organizational hierarchy. A
Mm-hmm.
leader is somebody who is thinking big, thinking out of the box, provides thought leadership, provides technical leadership, provides guidance. So I think every person is a leader. um, and to your point, yes, I think all managers, we expect them to be leaders, but some managers may not be leaders because they may just be doing a very um, simple kind of portfolio management and pushing
Mm-hmm.
paper around, or they may not be inspiring people. So I think an individual, in my mind, who not only is providing clarity and goals, but is actually inspires people to do their best, creates an environment where the culture, results in people feeling energized, whether that's like the collaboration that I talked about earlier, or whether it's creating an inclusive environment where diverse opinions are valued. So when a manager, I think maybe it's like I don't know. In one stroke, there's no general stroke. You can say that a manager is a leader, or a leader is a manager. I think each of us at different points in our interactions during the day, we show up as a leader, we show up as a manager, and we show up as individuals. So I think all these three things are ingrained in how we work, right? I mean, a manager may act as a pure manager,
Mm-hmm.
3 hours in a day, but there may be like 2 hours when they're doing a brainstorming where they actually may show up as a leader, right?
Yeah.
So, and similarly the other way around as well for leaders.
Yes, that's great. Because it's been a big question for me too. Everyone in my class, they were discussing a different perspective on this particular topics. How the hierarchy peoples they think about this topics. That's why I have asked you. So these are the things I just want to get clarified from the person who can explain about this. Because uh, when I saw your post, everyone, many of the nearly 300 comments I have seen, in the 300 comments, mostly 50% of the comments they have mentioned, you are a great leader. So I just want to know these things from a great leader. And what are the suggestions if you want to tell to emerging managers or those who are waiting for their promotions? What are the suggestions you will give?
I would say, um, be empathetic,
Mhm,
have a clear sense of the goals and the vision.
mhm,
Um, Create a sense of purpose. You should have your own sense of purpose. Like, why am I doing this? Why does this make me happy? When you work on something that makes your heart happy, you are a lot more committed to it. You're a lot more motivated to get things done. You're more motivated to move faster. And once you have that sense of purpose, making sure people in your team share the same sense of purpose is also goes a long way in kind of creating this energy wave for the whole team, right?
mhm.
And like always, we're thinking about ways to make things better, not accepting the status quo, asking the why, is also a big part of, I would say, like, I think as young professionals, just staying curious, asking why. And lastly, I will say, invest in relationships.
Mhm.
I don't know who said this quote. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go further, you go as a team. In most corporate cultures, you work together as a team. So
Mhm.
investing in relationships, and where relationships aren't great, trying to understand why and how do you collaborate better with others, is also a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that served me well in my career, and like I don't know, I don't consider myself an awesome leader, but I feel like these are things that have served me well in my career.
Actually, you are a great leader, sir. I'm, I have seen you are the way how you are approaching through this podcast. I'm just learning from you, and I'm curious about how you are taking the things and how you are implementing the thought process, how you are thinking. And um, yeah, it's a really good time talking to you, and on your busy schedule. And I know you are flying to various countries and various states for the meetings. And during this busy schedule, thanks for allocating me your time.
My pleasure, Akash. It was a great conversation. Good luck with this podcast and good luck with finishing college. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.